go try to block every shot, and I'm gonna be physical with you the whole game. You know Stu gonna be physical with you. When you think of the Pistons, you think of just hard work and just gritty basketball. That's just the identity you gotta have when you put on that jersey.
I'm not your average breed of King 9. Not a good dog, I'm bad boy for life. I set the tone, don't care about no tick. Let it be known, I get my respect. Come in the lane and see I don't bluff. If you retaliate, that's on ya. Talking pundits, I hear your shade. Talking that chop, you must run this way. Tryna tell ya, put the dog palm, mess around, find out, Tryna tell ya, put the dog palm, mess around, find out, For some barbecue sauce, boy, you better cough a hill, cause I'm like that. When you're ready for some barbecue sauce, boy, you better cough a hill, cause I'm like that. The dog palm, mess around, find out.
What up, though, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Downtown Deuce Show. What a game, man. What a game. This was a wild one. This is a wild game, man. A lot of fireworks in this one. This one also actually had a playoff feel to it. So before we get into everything, I want to welcome everybody once again to the show. I played the Dog Pound theme song. I know we didn't get a win tonight, but I still felt it was necessary in lieu of what happened tonight in this game. Tonight was very much so Detroit versus everybody type of game, right? From what happened in the game, the scuffle, from all the way to the refs with the terrible fouls, man. Terrible foul calling tonight, terrible officiating throughout this game. But more importantly, Pistons were not able to pull this one out tonight because of basically just being down, being undermanned, being shorthanded. They already came into the game being shorthanded, but they were still able to control most of the game until the fireworks went off. So let's get into it. So tonight the Pistons lose 123-104 on the road to the T-Wolves. They have their 3-game winning streak snapped, and they fall to 42-33 on the season. For this game, the Pistons were missing both Cade and Tobias. They both missed their 4th straight game. Cade with a right contusion and a right Achilles tendinopathy for Tobias. So the contusions are contusing right now, guys. I still don't think it's anything serious. I think it's more so precautionary. If we see that guys are missing games toward the end of the season, they don't play between now and the end of the season, then it's something to be concerned with, because you don't want guys not playing the last 2 weeks of the season going to the playoffs. That puts you in a situation like Jalen Brunson, right? It's not what you want to do. You want to go into the playoffs with a rhythm. So they didn't play tonight, right? So that meant guys like Schroeder, Bees, Ron Holland, for what we thought, even guys like Lindy Waters were going to get some run. And coming into this game, both these teams had a record of 42-32 coming into this game. And this game also featured the top 2 NBA leaders in three-pointers made between Malik Beasley and Anthony Edwards. Beasley has 286. And Edwards has 283. So we're going to talk about how that was affected in tonight's game as well. But I love this team. Let me just start with that. I absolutely love this basketball team, man. I know it didn't go our way. I know we lost by 20, which obviously the score is deceiving. If you watch the game, you need to really understand and have context why the Pistons lost the way they did, and why they only put up 104 points. So let's get to the initial thoughts. But before I do that, let me take a look at some of these comments here, because I see you guys are lit in this chat tonight. Let me start with my guy who always shows me love, Dominique. What's going on, brother? You know I always appreciate your love, man. What you got to talk to me about? Let's see. Dominique Davis, guy, says, so Dante got a backup Reed who's twice Ron's size. He kind of spoiling it, but it's all good because he always show me love. Let's start over. So Dante got a backup Reed who's twice Ron's size, who actually had a good strip on his dunk attempt. NBA got to stop multiple ejections and just kick the escalator out like they used to. Yeah, bro, we know the game is so different now. We know how different the game is, bro. We remember when, you used to be able to like throw guys to the floor and they would be not even a tech, right? Kurt Rambis throwing, who was it? Bill Embiid on the floor or who was it? It was somebody. But back in the day, that's what it was just different. You had, it was just all kind of nonsense that took place, all kind of hard fouls that took place back in the early 90s, late 80s, and it wasn't a foul call. It just wasn't a foul call, but the game is officiated totally different now. And it's kind of gotten soft, if you ask me. It's kind of gotten soft. But despite that, it's the way it's played, right? You gotta play the game the way it's played today. So and I see you guys kind of talk about some things too that I talked about previously. So we're gonna talk about that as well. But Dominique, you're absolutely right, bro. I don't know why. First of all, since you brought it up, bro, let's just get to it. Let's just get into it. Let's talk about the whole scuffle. For those who don't know, there was a scuffle in this game. It was a breakout, it was a fight, it was a melee, whatever you want to call it. It got interesting really, really quick. Really, really quick. So it started with what I thought was irritation from the Wolves. The Wolves are, guys, let me start with this. The Wolves are not used to getting out-muscled. They're not used to getting out-toughed. They're not used to getting out-physicaled. And tonight, the bully got bullied. Zach Randolph told DeMarcus Cousins, where I come from, bullies get bullied. That's kind of how it was tonight. They kind of got bullied. They kind of got knocked off their spot, and they didn't like it. That's how we play. If anybody's gonna play that way, it's gonna be us. So, I liked how the Pistons, like they did with all teams, just kind of set the tempo early, set the tone early in this game. And the Wolves didn't like it, but they really couldn't do anything about it because we were dominating the whole game to start. We were dominating the whole first half. We dominated. We were up double digits most of this half, of the first half. They really couldn't do anything to stop us. They couldn't deal with our physicality. They couldn't deal with our execution and our shot making. They were annoyed that this young up-and-coming team was beating the brakes off them. They were mad about it. You could see it. They were irritated. You could see they were doing uncharacteristic stuff. And so that really, in my opinion, is what led to this thing kind of escalating out of control. And so here's what basically happened, guys. So second quarter, right? Because like I mentioned, in the first quarter, the Pistons were shutting them down, man. Anthony Edwards was like, he couldn't do anything. He was getting clamped. Isaiah Thompson was clamping him. Tim Hardaway Jr. was clamping him. He couldn't score. The Pistons' defensive scheme was great. He couldn't get anything going. He couldn't even get in the paint. Now, come second half, when we lost a lot of our guys, that changed. But early in this game, he couldn't do anything. He was bottled up, and he had nothing to say about it. Right? He was quiet. He wasn't barking. He wasn't trying to even get his team back into the game. He wasn't even getting shown on camera because he wasn't doing anything, whether it was scoring or whether it was his behavior after scores. He just wasn't in the game. It wasn't until after that changed, which I'm going to talk about that too. I don't like that. We'll talk about that. I don't like front running, but we'll talk about that. So to start this game, guys, the Pistons hit first. Straight up. They hit first. They led with their defenses, which we always talk about. They set the tone, right? The only player to score for the T-Wolves in the first 6 minutes was Rudy Gobert. He had all 6 of their points in the first 6 minutes, which means they only scored 6 points in the first 6 minutes of the game, guys. Like I said, they got shut down by our Pistons. They got absolutely shut down when we were whole. Well, relatively whole. Based off of what we were expecting to come into this game with, we were whole. Still no Cade, right? Still no Tobias. Obviously still no Jaden, right? We're down with 3 starters right there. And we were still beating the brakes off these fools. They still couldn't mess with us. And so that in itself told me a lot. So I understood why the Wolves were so bothered, because they're used to doing that to other teams. That's what they did in the playoffs last year when they beat the defending champion Denver Nuggets at the time, right? They're used to doing that. But okay, so let's get to this, man. As you guys know, I've had my player on one guy for a long time, and I know a lot of you guys are gonna feel very differently after this one. And you know what? I can't blame you. This doesn't change the fact of what I still feel like he could be great on this team, but I understand if you're not really rocking with him anymore. Naz Reid, right? I've said, and look, y'all know me. Y'all know if I'm right, I'm gonna say it. Y'all know if I'm wrong, or if it's indifferent, or if it needs to be called out, I'm gonna say it. So with that in mind, Naz Reid did not make a lot of Pistons fans tonight. He did not create a lot of fans with Detroit Pistons tonight. And I was surprised. Appreciate you, Son of Apollo. Appreciate you. I was surprised, man, because I saw Naz Reid do some things that he doesn't usually do. And like I mentioned, I think it's because he saw that his team was getting bullied. And I think he was trying to inspire his team. Maybe not, but that's kind of what it seemed like to me. Because the play that he even got upset about, that kind of set everything off, wasn't really anything that I thought would have been something to be upset about. So before that play, though, let's go back a step. It started when Dante DiVincenzo, on a fast break, lowers his shoulder and just tries to run through Fontecchio, who was planted, waiting for a charge. And to talk about how bad the refs are, they called a blocking foul on it at first. It was an obvious charge. Fontecchio was sitting in the paint for it felt like 2 seconds, just planted outside of the circle, just waiting for the contact. And DiVincenzo lowers his shoulder, which is what refs are supposed to look for, in part to determine if it's offensive or defensive. Like, if you lower your shoulder, more times than not, they're going to call an offensive foul. Even if the guy isn't set. If they see you lower your shoulder, that offsets the other guy not being in place. So with that, Fontecchio was in place, and he lowered his shoulder, and they still called a defensive foul. Coach Bickerstaff was like, nah, bro, what we doing? That's just one of the many terrible plays or calls that the Pistons once again did not get. It's so many reviews that the Pistons have had to do that they should not have had to even do it. They should not have had to even go to the booth for the calls the Pistons have had to get overturned. It's ridiculous. You don't even need the review. If you watch a game live, you can see it's not even needed. But anyway, that's beside the point. That play is what ignited and started the whole melee. DiVincenzo tried to run him over, lowered his shoulder, didn't seem to really care about the fouls, like he just wanted to run into him. And so they got the fouls reversed. They called it, right? Rudy Gobert gets into the middle of it, right? And as Isaiah Stewart is coming over to grab and help Fontecchio up, Rudy Gobert comes over and puts his hands on Stu. And Stu is the last person you want to do that with. Stu pushes him off him and points at him like he always does, right? And Gobert didn't do anything after that. Gobert didn't do a thing after that, right? But that's where it started. That's really where it all started. From there is when things really started to get out of control. It really just started to get out of control. So a few plays later, guys, Ron Holland fouls Naz Reid on the drive to the hoop. And honestly, guys, I'm going to keep it a stat. That looked clean to me. The strip, to me, looked clean. I don't know what Naz was upset about, but he took exception to that. And he, after the foul, they called the foul, he pointed at Ron. Right? He pointed at him. And normally when you see that, it's usually because it's a dirty foul. You know, a guy tries to undercut you in the air, like Grayson Allen or something crazy like that, or just a crazy hard foul, a dangerous foul. That's usually when you see that. This wasn't that. This wasn't that at all. This was just a clean strip. So after that, he points at him like this. But y'all know Ron don't run from no smoke. Ron got chest to chest with him. Like, what? What we doing, bro? What you gonna do? Rookie Ron does not care who it is that is in his way or that is barking at him. He is ready for all of the smoke, right? And I love that about him. Nowhere, this could have been between the two of them. Out of nowhere, you see Dante DiVincenzo get into the frame and just grabs Ron for no reason. Just grabs him for no reason. And from there, everybody, to the point where Naz Reid had to take him off of him. And then Ron and DiVincenzo get into it. They're scuffling. And then the whole bench, all the starters come over. Everybody comes over. Isaiah Stewart comes over. Beasley comes over. Conley comes over. Marcus Sasser came over with the quickness, guys, to defend Ron Holland. You can see right here, he was not letting up on DiVincenzo. Every time DiVincenzo tried to get up, he pushed him back down and pushed him back down and pushed him back down. Like, he was upset. He was visibly upset. And guys, I think that was the case because I think somebody hit Ron Holland, man. I think somebody hit him when they were in that scuffle. I don't know what happened, but I think somebody hit him. If you look at this picture, you can see how, look at Ron's lip. Look at Ron's lip. I think somebody hit him, took a cheap shot on him when they were in the scuffle. I don't know for sure, but just looking at it, that's what it looks like to me. I could be wrong, but like I said, that's how it appears to me. So I like how all the guys came over right? And just showed Ron the support that they had their brothers back. And as it all cleared, it took a while for it to clear. But as it cleared, Isaiah Stewart did this. Held his jersey up. Detroit versus everybody. F out of here. We don't care. The same thing he did versus the Pacers. Same thing. Same energy. Crowd booing him like crazy. And honestly, guys, it reminds me of the Bad Boys Pistons when Bill Laimbeer was getting booed by the fans and he's going like this. Going like this. Yeah, give me more. Give me more. All of it. Right? That's what this felt like. That's what this felt like. But unfortunately for the Pistons, they lost some of their guys. They lost some of their guys, right? Including Coach Bickerstaff. He was also ejected, right? He wants all the smoke. He was not playing around, guys. He treats his team, these guys, like they're his sons. Like the way he protects his guys is bigger than basketball. You can see it is bigger than basketball for Coach Bickerstaff. It's not just a job for him. It's not just a job for him, right? So I love to see how Coach came to his defense. Came to his defense immediately. Got ejected for it. Didn't care. Didn't care, right? And it seems like, Rashad, you remember classic Bill Laimbeer in the 1990s finals at Portland, taking a bow to the crowd. Exactly, taking a bow. Taking a bow. Thank you. Give me more, right? That's what this felt like. That's what this felt like. And D. Davis, yes, he said as much in the press conference. JB Bickerstaff is a player's coach. There are not many guys around the league I want for this type of team, right? It's not many guys. He comes to his players' defense at every turn. Every turn. So I love to see that. But unfortunately, we lost our coach. And at that point, Luke Walton had to take care of interim duties as the coach for the rest of the game, which was fine. I'm okay with that. But even more importantly, the Pistons lost 3 guys, man. We lost 3 players once that happened. So the Wolves lost 3 guys too, but the guys we lost were very, very important. More important for us, considering we were already undermanned, right? So once the dust settled, there was still a game to be played, and the Pistons were going to have to do it without Coach Bickerstaff, Isaiah Stewart, he got ejected, Ron Holland got ejected, and Sasser also got ejected. All ejected, right? The Wolves also lost 3 guys, but they were Naz Reid, DiVincenzo, and assistant coach Prigioni. So if you ask me, who's more important, right, for the Pistons, player-wise, Stu, Ron, and Sasser, or Naz Reid and DiVincenzo, right? Like, not even just the number of players, but the players specifically who we lost were all critical to helping the Pistons build the lead and control the game. Stu and Ron were dominating this game. Dominating this game. Both of them, with their effort and their defensive intensity. And Sasser was getting buckets. He was on his way to having another big night. So with that, it was going to be hard for the Pistons to try to pull this game out. They were already down guys. Caden Tobias was missing, as I mentioned. They had to go deep into their bench to get the contributions to try to pull this game out. And unfortunately, they just didn't have enough, right? They didn't have enough in the tank when we had all those guys down. I was hoping to see one of these guys, or maybe both of these guys, right? Dennis Jenkins and Bobby Klintman. I was hoping to see them in action tonight. We didn't see them until late in the game. You know, I did like what I saw from Dennis Jenkins. He got some buckets. Bobby Klintman was in there at the very end of the game. He didn't get any run, really. But Dennis Jenkins came in. He did a good job. But let's talk about Naz Reid for a second, guys. I know. This may be unpopular, guys. I still wouldn't be mad if he came here. I wouldn't. Let me explain why. Before Bill Laimbeer came here, when he played for the Cavaliers, were you a fan? Before Rasheed Wallace came to the Pistons, when he played for the Portland Trail Blazers, were you a fan? See, these kind of guys, they're polarizing. You either hate them if they don't play for your team, or you love them if they do play for your team. So I'm not saying that I'm not bothered by what I saw about Naz Reid, because I was. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I was bothered by the fact that that's all it took for him to do that, right? So I'm kind of torn right now. Because I didn't like what I saw from that. You know, I didn't. But here's the thing, guys. The finger wave or whatever, that's fine. That's just two guys talking, right? It wasn't until that's my problem. DiVincenzo was the real problem, because you had 2 grown men talking, Nothing had happened. Nothing had broken out. Hands weren't put on either one of those guys. Nas Reed didn't touch Holland. Holland didn't touch Nas Reed. They just got into his face and was talking about it. Whether you agree with the foul call or not, Nas Reed did not do anything that was out of pocket. You may not agree with the finger wave, but Stu does a finger wave, right? So it's just like, my point is that it wasn't until DiVincenzo got involved that it really escalated everything. That's my point. So, you know, I have a different stance on that because I've seen guys that I hated on other teams and they came here and I liked them. And I'm still not opposed to him coming here. I'm really not. Because Derek Pullen, you made a great point. This is another guy. Rick Mahorn is another example. He played for the Washington Bullets for years. He played for the Bullets. In the game that Charles Barkley got into that fight with Bill Laimbeer, it started with Rick Mahorn. Rick Mahorn dunked on Dennis Rodman and then got in his face. If you guys remember, right? Who remembers that? Rick Mahorn, who is beloved in Detroit now. He was a big part of us winning that first championship against the LA Lakers, right? Before he came here, he played with the Washington Bullets, and nobody here liked him. Nobody. He was an agitator. He wasn't the talent that Nas Reed is. He was just an enforcer. He was Isaiah Stewart with less talent, right? He was Isaiah Stewart with less talent. And nobody here liked him. Couldn't stand him. Isaiah Thomas swinging on him, right? Hitting him in the face. Getting ejected, right? Like all these different things. So I'm not saying that Nas Reed is the perfect fit. I'm just not going to say I don't want him anymore just because of tonight. I'm not. Because if it was reversed and he was on our team and he did that, you know, and somebody fouled him as he went to the hoop and he did that, what would we be saying? Yeah, Nas Reed don't take nothing, right? If we're being fair, if Isaiah Stewart didn't play for your team, you would not care about him as much as you do. You would respect him, but you wouldn't like him as much as you do. You like him because he's ours. And because he plays what he plays. So once again, I'm not going to, you know, try to make it seem like I wasn't bothered by it, because I was bothered by it. Because it was a weak foul. It wasn't even a foul. So, but all I'm saying is that it escalated because Dante DiVincenzo got into grown folks' business. He don't do that. It's nothing to talk about. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Y'all don't agree. It's all good. I see Derek ain't rolling. He said, nah, read it soft. Read it soft. He's soft. A lot of pushing. I get it. Listen, I'm not mad at y'all. Leave me alone, Devon. I'm not mad at it, man. I'm not mad at it. Like, if you guys don't want him, I understand. From a fit standpoint, I feel like he would fit. I really do. At the 4, I do. If you don't, I'm not mad. So if you guys don't want Nas Reed, let me know who it is that you do want. Sebastian says facts. Didn't have anything. Yeah, it had nothing to do with Dante. What is he doing? Why is he getting involved? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is he even getting involved? Just getting it for no reason. For no reason. That's what irritated me. Had nothing to do with you, bro. Stay out of grown folks' business. Just stay out of it. So anyway, I'm gonna leave that there. I understand how you guys feel. I'm not going down on that hill, right? But yeah, I did not appreciate Don. I don't like him, bro. DiVincenzo, I'm not a fan. Not a fan. At all. Not a fan, bro. So we'll leave it there. So let's keep going to this. Let's get back into this game, because a lot more happened in this game besides that, even though that was a big part of what took place, right? So, like I mentioned, man, that was unfortunate. That whole scuffle, because the Pistons were rolling, man. The Pistons were rolling. They were rolling in this game. They have full control of this basketball game on both sides of the ball, and they have really exerted their tone into the game. Like, you could see the Wolves really didn't want any smoke with the Pistons on the court, right? For all we know, that could have been Nas Reed trying to get his guys going. He could have seen his guys were stuck in the mud and they needed a spark, right? I mean, if we saw it wasn't a foul, he probably know it wasn't a foul. But sometimes you got to do stuff like that to get your team into the game. And guess what? They won the game. I mean, I'm just saying. Absolutely not to Julius Randle. Who said that? Who said Julius Randle? Who said they'd rather have Julius Randle instead of Nas Reed? Please let me know. I need the receipt on that. Was it you, Dolly? Listen, Dolly, no, you do not want Julius Randle over Nas Reed. Julius Randle is not a defensive player at all. He is way overpaid for the role that he plays, and he shouldn't even be a Minnesota Timberwolf. He should still be in New York, and Karl Anthony Towns should still be in Minnesota. Period. So, yeah, I'm straight on that. I'm straight on that for sure. But anyway, let's get back, like I mentioned. Y'all caught me with that chat message. Let me get back. All right. So back to the game, right? It's so unfortunate, man. The Pistons should have won this game. They should have won this game. And the difference in this game after that happened was that the Wolves still had their key guys. They still had their key guy. They still had Julius Randle. They still had Gobert. They still had Anthony Edwards, right? The Pistons were down 5 players, including the guys who already were out for the game, to start the game, right? They were Cade, Tobias, and then you lose Ron, Stu, and Sasser. And you obviously Jaden isn't back either. That's 6 rotational pieces, potentially. Like, you're supposed to win that game. So, listen, guys, I like Anthony Edwards, right? I like Anthony Edwards. But I lost a little bit of respect for him tonight. I'm going to tell you why. I personally, guys, don't like front runners. I don't like front runners. What I mean is that early in this game, when the Minnesota Timberwolves were getting snuffed and clamped and not even able to get buckets, he was quiet. You didn't see him even trying to get his guys into the game. He wasn't trying to rally the troops. He wasn't screaming. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't doing anything. He wasn't even, like I said, he wasn't even showing on camera because he was so quiet. It wasn't until after we lost all of our guys that now he's knocking down shots and doing this and barking at the Pistons and all this other stuff. I don't like that. I don't like that. Keep that same energy, bro. Keep the same energy. Like, come on, bro. Like, when I played, and I didn't play professionally, anything like that, when guys got ejected, and it was obvious that we had the better team at that point, just go win the game, bro. I'm going to talk about blowing you out. I'm going to just blow you out. I'm not about to be front running and talking smack, especially if I was losing in the first half. It's evident why you won. It's evident why you won. You won because all of our guys are gone. Before they went down, when it was mano a mano, you wasn't saying nothing. You had nothing to say. You know what I mean? That's weak to me. It makes the game look weak. It makes your team look weak. It makes the win look weak because you're supposed to win. What if Kate had played? Did we lose this game if we got Kate and Tobias? So, no, I don't like that, man. I did not appreciate that. Like, he has a right to do it, right? I just personally think that's weak. I think that's weak. And it seems like you guys agree. I didn't like it. It just felt kind of weak to me. It felt immature. You know, they got the win, so I can't really talk. Or I can't really say too much. But listen, man. He said Anthony Edwards equals Anthony Winslow. I'm dead. Rashad says Anthony Edwards is that guy who is quiet when another guy is face to face. But the moment he got his boys around night, yes. That's kind of how I feel too. I'm not taking nothing away from him. I still like him as a player. Very good player. That was just weak. Would Kate have done that? Would Kate do that, guys? You know what I'm saying? And you can say, oh, well, Kate don't ever talk. He talked when he hit that game winner. Don't he? He talked to the refs. He talked to his teammates. He does bark when it's necessary. Kate ain't about to showboat and front run when the other team is down 5 or 6 of their best players. And now the Pistons are starting to get back into the game. No, come on. That's weak. It's weak. I'm sorry. I'm not going to linger on that, but that's weak. And Carl, yes, I also laugh when he's compared to MJ. He's nothing of MJ. Y'all know I think LeBron is a GOAT. But for those who think MJ's a GOAT, cool. I ain't mad at it. He ain't nowhere near MJ. MJ had a certain maturity to him, even early, that Ant-Man doesn't have. Just don't have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me go. K wouldn't do that. K wouldn't do that. What Jordan say? When the score is 0-0, that's how you can tell who's... Thank you, Will. Thank you. When the score is 0-0, that's how you can tell who's real. Not when you're down because your team is getting smacked and then we lose all our guys and now you're able to come back. Everybody in the room knows what it is, bro. Everybody in the room knows what it is. Just stop. It's weak. K just hoop. Only when he blatantly gets fouled does he talk. Or when he hits a game winner off the glass to end the game. Right? That's all I'm saying. Edwards is a Robin, a great Pippen, but he's not an alpha. Interesting. So anyway, this is not an Anthony Edwards rant, but that really got under my skin when I saw that. Like, because I don't like it when other teams do that. Not even just this game. Not because of my Pistons. I'm not fanboying this, none of that. I don't like that. Maybe I'm old school, but that to me is just weak. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. All right, let's move on, man. Let's move on. A lot more to get to. Okay, all right, man. So now that we talked about that, like I said, I'm not really bothered by this loss. The only thing I'm worried about is Isaiah Stewart's texts. Now I'm not sure how many. Maybe you guys can help me out. How many texts does Isaiah Stewart have right now? Does he have 14? Because once you get to 16, you get suspended for a game, and for every 2 after that, another suspension. So if he gets to 16, I think either every 1 or 2 after that is another suspension. So if you get 16, once you get to 18, suspension. 20, suspension. I believe it's either 1 or 2. I don't quote me on that, but maybe you guys can check. 1 after 16 or 2 after 16, automatic suspension. So he has to really be careful about that now. I'm not mad at him tonight because he's coming to the defense of his guys. It's just unfortunate that he has so many right now. You know what I mean? It's like in this kind of situation, he's doing what he's supposed to do, but because he's got so many, might miss the game. So, and we're going to need him. We're going to need him. He is definitely a target now, right? Let's start the GoFundMe for Stu for text right now. 1 after 6. Okay, DG, thank you. So once you get to 16, guys, suspension. Everyone after that, suspension. So you got to be careful. That's why they give you a 16, right? But once you get there, they don't play. They don't play. The league does not play once you get to 16. So, you know, it's unfortunate for him, but the Pistons have to be very, very careful with him going forward because they cannot afford to lose him for an extended period of time. Any games, really. They can't lose him for any games in the playoffs because you only got 4 losses, right? You miss him for 1 game, that could change the whole series. Like we saw it change the whole game tonight. So Devon said he's kind of upset with Stu on this. Devon, why are you upset about this? Let me know why you are upset. Because it's easy to say, Devon, from our perspective, that he shouldn't have did what he did. And maybe you're right. But him doing that in this situation only, I'm not saying the other text when he's barking at other, but in this situation, I have no problem with it. Because this team has showed me that they're more than just teammates. They're brothers. Especially Lil Ron, Junior, Dog Pound Jr. They're brothers, man. So if I'm seeing my brother get attacked like that, epitech, in that moment, that's what I'm on. That's the thing. So I'm not saying you're wrong, Devon. I'm not saying you're wrong. But you gotta have your brother's back, man. You gotta have your brother's back. And yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, respect, man. It's just certain things you just can't let go. It's certain things you just can't let go. And in my opinion, this is one of those things. Right? Maybe you're not as elaborate with how you retaliate or how you respond. Like Sasser. Sasser pushed the edge, but he didn't get, but he got suspended. He only just pushed the edge. He didn't throw a punch. Right? He didn't throw a punch. They still suspended him. So for me, it's just me, guys. I'm old school, right? I watch the Bad Boys, going to work team. I'm not gonna leave 1 blue jersey over there with 5 white jerseys. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. So it's unfortunate for me. That's my thing. But I understand what you're saying, Devon. I'm not doing that. I'm not rolling with that. Like, I'm not just gonna let my guy just hang out there by himself and he's getting jumped on. I'm not going for that. That's just me. Frank Norman. Oh. Appreciate you, Frank. Frank, if you have a comment you want me to elaborate on, let me know, because I appreciate your donation, bro. So if you got something you want to say, let me know. I'll single it out and I'll talk about it. But I appreciate you as always, Frank. Always, man. All right. So now, let's get back to, and that's another thing. Frank, yes. Okay, Frank, perfect. Take care of his rookie. Exactly. You got to take care of your rookie. You got to take care of your rookie, man. Especially with him displaying the toughness that he's showing, that he showed all year long. There's no way I'm not coming to bat for him. No way. No way. So yes, that's just me. Like I said, it's just me. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just too hood with it or whatever. Like, I'm just not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not leaving him alone. All right. So let's go back. Don't understand why both our coaches, he didn't do a thing. Oh, why boot our coach? I think he left the bench, Vulture. I could be wrong on that. I think he left the bench. And you can't leave the bench unless you're already on the court. That goes to the coach. That goes to the players who's on the bench. Unless you're one of the guys on the court, you step off the bench, you're getting ejected. I don't know why that's the case with coaches. You would think coaches would have more restraint in that situation, but come on, bro. Like, come on. I don't know. Once again, it's Detroit. That's Detroit versus everybody. You throwing our coach out the game because he's trying to break up a scuffle? He left the bench. Who cares? You want this thing to escalate? That makes sense to me. I don't know, man. I don't know. But shout out to Ron, bro. Shout out to Ron, because Ron, guys, is fearless. He's fearless. He's not afraid of anybody. I think Nas thought he was going to back down when he got this. Ron said, what? What? I'm here. He got toe-to-toe, chest-to-chest with him face-to-face as a rookie. Dude don't care. I love Ron Holland. He is Detroit personified. DG says, Deuce, do you think this team isn't mentally tough and we fall for the bait all the time? I've heard this from multiple. See, here's the thing. We're young. We're young. We haven't been, like, guys, for many of us, we have watched these Pistons teams for years. We've seen the bad boys Pistons go through scuffles and learn from it. We've seen the 04 Pistons get in the scuffles against the Pacers and learn from it. So as fans, as supporters, we've seen and we've learned along the way with them what not to do. These guys have not been in situations like this before, right? They have not been in that situation. So they got to go through it. This is part of the growing pains. This is, like I said at the beginning of the year, guys, there's going to be peaks and valleys. You're going to see the Pistons beat teams they have no business beating and then lose games they shouldn't lose. And do things that you're like, come on, bro. They're young. They haven't been in these situations before. So in the moment, you may not do what you think you would do because you haven't seen that situation before. You can try to simulate it, but it's always different when it actually happens. So I don't think that they aren't mentally tough. I think they're extremely tough mentally, especially the way they continue to fight the rest of the game. They could have packed this game in. They did it until late in the fourth quarter when it was clear to everybody they just didn't have enough. But prior to that, you had guys like Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr. step up. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to the box score in a second. But the vets stepped up and tried to rally the troops and keep these guys under control and keep their confidence up and allow them to shake off what just happened. They just didn't have enough. They did not have enough offensively, and they had guys trying to play too far outside of their scope and do things that they don't usually do because we were down 5 guys. So no, I don't think they're mentally tough or weak at all. I think they're tough mentally. I think once they get the experience, they'll be even tougher and they'll be able to handle a situation like this better. But honestly, we were just undermanned. We're undermanned. It's okay. We lost the game because we were undermanned. Our star was out. Our other star was out. Our starting power forward was out. We lost half our bench rotation. Like, fine. Okay, we lost. But I have no problem with how the game played out after the scuffle or even before the scuffle. I saw what's going on. I saw how it looked. I'm not surprised. Fine. They got to win. Move on. Next game up. Next game. All right. Now, let's get to the actual box score and see what happened in this game, right? So let's start with Dennis Schroeder, who got the start again for Cade. Tonight, guys, Schroeder struggled. He struggled. He had 11 points. Wow, I take that back. He didn't completely struggle. He struggled with his shot. Let me take that back. He struggled with his shot. He only had 11 points on 3 of 12 shooting, all 4 from 3, 5 or 6 in the free throw line. But guys, 11 assists. I did not realize he had 11 assists. So maybe because by the time he got him, the game was already in hand. But that was the quietest 11 assists I've ever seen. But, you know, he obviously was able to get guys involved in this game. I just don't remember him getting that many assists when it was important. I could be wrong. I don't want to take anything away from him, but I'll take it. But once again, Schroeder did what we asked him to do, which is be a floor general and get other guys involved. He just could not get a shot to fall tonight. He just couldn't get it going, and that happens. But on the plus side, at least he tried to keep the guys involved. You could see him. That's one thing he did bring. He brought leadership. He brought leadership. After the scuffle, you could see guys like Bees, THJ, and Schroeder. Bring it in, guys. Bring it in. Trying to, like, get them up to speed with how to handle situations they haven't handled before, right? That's kind of how it felt. Like, let's chill. Let's get back in the game. He tried to do that. He tried to be a floor general. Like I said, the Pistons just didn't have enough. They didn't have enough offensively. He was one of the guys that was forced into doing things he doesn't usually do. He took way more shots that were not really what he usually takes, not really comfortable, right? But he had to shoulder more load because the Pistons were down once again, so many guys. So I'm not mad at him. He didn't shoot well, but at least he tried to give the Pistons a veteran presence, and at least he got other guys involved. Can't ask for more than that, right? All right, let's go to Tim Hardaway Jr., man. He had 20 points tonight on four rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 fouls, on 5 for 14 shooting, 3 of 8 from 3, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. So, man, you guys see that 4-point play he had in the first quarter? Man, he was cooking early, man. He was cooking. Like, the whole team was playing very, very well early in this game. You could see they had the game plan in place. They were executing it. Everything just kind of went off the rails when the guys had to, when guys started getting off the bench when they were supposed to, right? Leaving the bench. But he was solid on both ends, man, like he always is. You know, he stayed attached to Ant-Man all night. He didn't give he was part of the reason Ant-Man got bottled up and couldn't do anything in that first half. He couldn't do anything in that first half. Ant-Man finished with 25 points, but most of those came in the second half. He was able to get loose because we didn't have enough guys, enough bodies to throw at him consistently, and not even just individual defense. When you have guys who are critical to your bench who are missing, it makes you want to run the screen and roll, pick and roll a lot more. It makes you want to get mismatches on those other guys because the Ron Hollands of the world, the Isaiah Stewarts of the world, who will usually be there off of a pick and roll, are not there. So now you have easier shots because you have guys who are not as good defenders for the Pistons. It's a domino effect. So before that happened, the Pistons were really locked in, man. And THJ and Asar did a really good job early in this game. And Ron early in this game. And Stu early in this game getting out on him and making things hard for him. So THJ was solid, man. He knocked down shots. He kept the Pistons in the game in the second half. He knocked down shot after shot. And I really salute the vets, man, for trying to keep the Pistons locked and engaged. And they did that. We just didn't have enough in the game. So THJ was solid, man. Now he's always solid. He always does his job. And tonight he did his job. He didn't shoot great, right? 5 of 14 is not great. But considering what he has to do on the defensive end and what he did tonight, as far as keeping Ant-Man in check, I'll take 20 points and 4 boards and a steal and a block from Tim Hardaway Jr. Absolutely. All right, let's go to Jalen Duren. JD had 13 points, 11 boards, another double-double, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, on 6 for 10 shooting, 1 for 1 from the free throw line, in 26 minutes. JD also had 5 fouls. So JD in this game, once again, got off to a great start. Before I get there, let me start with this. JD played his 200th game as a Piston tonight, right? Through 200 games in the Pistons uniform in history, only Ben Wallace, Bill Laimbeer, and Andre Drummond have more rebounds than JD. So that says a lot considering what JD had to go through last year. But tonight JD was, man, once again, it seemed like had that scuffle not happened, all these guys would have had much better stat lines and this would have been a runaway blowout. This felt like a blowout in the making. Had that not happened, the Pistons were just dominating the game. And JD in the first half dominated on the glass. I've heard a lot of people say during JD's stretch where he's been playing much better, Pistons aren't playing anybody. They haven't played a lot of big men, a lot of talented big men. We saw what he did against Bam, right? And we're seeing what we saw tonight what he was doing. Early in this game, Rudy Gobert could not do anything with him. Rudy Gobert is not quick enough to stay with JD. Rudy Gobert is not anything other than a really good interior defender. He doesn't have great feet. He doesn't have great, he's got hands of stone. Like he's just a very big guy. He's very big and he's very long. But JD was scoring at will against him early in this game. He was either getting fouled or knocking down shots. And tonight he was doing much of the same. It couldn't really bother him. JD, even when they were trying to keep JD out of the paint, Julius Randle nor Rudy Gobert could. Neither one of them. And he was getting tap outs, offensive boards. He was holding the T-Wolves to 1 shot, grabbing every rebound available. Like he was on his way to a great game, man. It's just unfortunate to see like the domino effect of the scuffle and how the momentum shifted and the game just kind of got away after that. But tonight, early in this game, like the rest of the team, he played and was the player that the Pistons needed him to be, right? Dominated on both ends of the court, protected the rim, attacking the glass. Like he was solid, man. I really wish he could have finished out the way he started, but it's unfortunate. But he was solid too. I'm not mad at JD at all. And now let's go to our last starter. Or not last starter, two more guys. Let's go to Asar. Asar had 14 points, 4 boards, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 5 fouls, on 6 of 15 shooting, 0-2 from 3, 2 of 5 from the free throw line in 34 minutes. So I'll start with this, man. Asar is a lot stronger than he looks. Early in this game, like last game, when he bodied Evan Mobley to his way to the hoop, he did the same thing on Julius Randle. Got to the paint, pushed him off him and scored. He had a few of those tonight where he was able to score on Julius Randle at ease with physicality. I was surprised. And did anybody see that 360 layup attempt that he almost converted on Rudy Gobert? I forgot who I've seen. There's been a few players I've seen do that before. I can't think of, maybe it was, okay, I think one of those guys plays for the Wizards. I believe I've seen Jordan Poole do it, but I've seen other guys do that. I think I've seen Vince Carter do it. The 360 reverse layup. It was beautiful. He got fouled, so it didn't fall. But just seeing D Wade, thank you, Devon. D Wade is the first guy I think I seen do it. Him or Vince Carter was the first guy I seen do it. And it was beautiful. I don't have the video, right? The copyright me, but it was beautiful to see that. His athleticism is off the charts. His athleticism is off the charts, man. So, but yeah, Asar was good. Asar was good. He didn't play a perfect game. Defensively, he was giving Anthony Edwards fits. And not even just him, he was giving Jaden McDaniels fits. Jaden McDaniels had 2 points, guys. 2 points. He was bottled up. Asar's versatility defensively to be able to guard. Asar could have essentially, guys, guard any of the Minnesota starters. He can guard Mike Conley. He's quick enough. He's long enough. He can guard Edwards. You saw him clamp him up in the first half. He can guard Jaden McDaniels. He had 2 points. He can guard Julius Randle. Randle's strong, but he can guard him if you need him to. And he can guard Rudy Gobert, because Gobert is not a scoring threat. Asar can guard anybody in the T-Wolves starting 5. That's how versatile of a player he is. And we're seeing him slowly, continue to get better and figure out who he's going to be. But you see the flashes. You see how good he's going to be. You see just how talented of a player, how raw he is. So, yeah, no complaints from him either, man. There's a few, he did turn the ball over, right? A few turnovers here and there where he started to get loosey-goosey with the basketball. He didn't shoot it great, right? 6 out of 15 is not great. But once again, you don't normally see Asar taking 15 shots. You don't see Tim Hardaway Jr. taking 14 shots. You don't usually see Beasley taking 18 shots, who we'll get to. But all these guys had to do more because we were down so many guys. And it's hard to ask guys to step up in a game like that and take on a bigger role like that when they haven't been asked to do that all season long, which is why I think it's good they're getting a chance to now. But yeah, Asar, man, he's a complete Swiss Army knife. Free throw wise, he's still struggling. He's got to work on those free throws because he's going to be getting into the lane a lot. His ability to be able to get into the lane because of his first step and the speed, he's going to get fouled a lot. So he has to work on his shooting. He didn't shoot well from 3 either, 0 for 2. So he didn't shoot it well. But like I always say, he still found other ways to be effective. And he did that tonight. All right. Now, let's get to our last starter. Malik Beasley. By the way, Carl, you are right. Ja Morant also did do that. So you gotta have a certain type of athleticism to be able to try that. You gotta have a certain level of balance to be able to try that. You need to know where, you need to know where to take off from to know where you're gonna end up. You gotta practice that, and everybody can't do that. You can jump in the air and lose your balance and lose the ball. And not only are you doing a 360 in midair, you have to account for the basket. If a defender's there, you got to account for them too. So to be able to see them, guys like that, do things like that, it just shows you the level of athleticism these guys have. So yeah, but Carl, you're right. Ja Morant also did that. But guys we mentioned, Ja Morant, D Wade, Vince Carter, like all these guys are super duper athletic. And Asar is one of those guys, right? So all right, let's get back. Let's get to Malik Beasley, our last starter. Guys, Malik Beasley went off. He had 27 points tonight, 2 boards. He shot 8 for 18 overall, 6 for 13 from 3, 5 for 6 on the free throw line, and a game high 38 minutes. So once again, anybody playing 38 minutes is not a good thing in a regular season game, right? Especially when you're as deep a team as we are. You don't usually need that. But once again, us being down so many guys, you needed guys like him to play more. And he was asked to do a lot in this game, guys. Like if you watch the game post fight, he was asked, his usage was ridiculous. And he kind of it really wasn't his fault, because without Cade, your only point guard is Schroeder. So the ball's going to be in BG's hands even more, especially when you don't have guys like Ron who can help you out, right? Because Ron plays with Bees off the bench. But tonight, Bees was a starter. So once the bench guys came in, you didn't have the same guys that you're used to having being able to orchestrate. And he struggled. He was asked to do a lot. Like off the dribble, you saw offensively, he was trying to do much more than we usually see him do. He wasn't just coming off screens looking for a shot. You know, he really was doing a lot of ISO, and he kind of had to, because the Pistons weren't able to really manufacture offense from anywhere else. You know, especially with Sasser gone. So it was really, really hard on Bees tonight. But early in this game, when the Pistons were whole, that boy couldn't miss. That boy said, "Don't touch me, I'm sizzling." And it seemed like coming into this game, he knew that Ant-Man was right on his heels for that 3-point title. And he was knocking them things down everywhere. It was like he wanted to put more separation, because like I mentioned, BZ's first with 286 on the season, and Ant-Man is second at 283. So only 3 threes were separating the two of them. And it looked like BZ came into the game like, "Nah, bro, I'm going to put more separation between us." Because he was knocking down threes from everywhere early in this game, man. He shot nearly 50% overall. But he was even better than that in the first half when they were in rhythm. He was taking shots that he was used to taking, right? Whether he was open, whether he was contested, he was just knocking them down. He was knocking them down. Naz Reid, who got switched out on him out of the pick and roll, and who's a good perimeter big, right? Defensive-wise, like he was not bothering Beasley at all. You see, every time Beasley would hit one, after good defense from Naz Reid, watch shot go in, like just walk away. You saw it over and over and over again. And he seems, I love Bees because Bees seems to knock down every 3-pointer off a turnover, right? Defense to offense, he seems to understand how important it is to hit the big shot off a turnover because of how big of a shift it is momentum-wise. Tonight, he knocked down a few more. Pistons turn him over, he's open, he knocks it down. Like that kind of stuff is so big for the playoffs. Momentum, we'll see. So it's going to be interesting, but like I mentioned, man, he was on one. He couldn't miss early. And so that's why he was brought here, though, guys. That's why guys like him and Tobias and THJ, that's why they were brought here. Because even Bees, when the scuffle happened, when it came and went, he was one of the guys who was also trying to keep the guys' confidence up, trying to keep the guys motivated. And early in the third quarter, right? Early after the scuffle happened, before the Pistons had to go to the bench, they were still leading. I'm sorry, in the second quarter, because it happened in the first half. In the second quarter, after the scuffle happened, the Pistons went into halftime with the lead. They went to halftime with the lead. It wasn't until the second half when the Pistons had to go to their bench, which was now depleted because you lost Ron, because you lost Stu, because you lost Sass. That is when the game really got away from the Pistons. Before that, though, the Pistons were still holding on to the lead. They were still playing solid basketball. But once you get to your bench and you got guys who don't play as much, they don't play together as much, now it becomes harder. And that's what allowed them to get back into the game. But prior to that, Bees was keeping them boys in it, knocking down shots. THJ keeping them boys in it, knocking down shots. Beasley was yapping at them when they were missing shots. He was really just trying to keep the Pistons vibes high, trying to keep them into the game, trying to keep them motivated and focused. And, you know, they just didn't have enough. But Beasley, he was solid. He did everything he could to keep the Pistons in this game. All right. Guys, the bench did not give us much. And like I mentioned, it's because we were missing half of it. So guys like Fontecchio, Paul Reed, who was admirable, you know, but we didn't really get much from our bench. Sasser had 3. He played 6 minutes. He had 3 points. Dennis Jenkins had 5 points in 2 minutes. He didn't miss a shot. 2 of 2 from the field, or 1 of 1 from 3-point land. My guy, Dennis Jenkins, didn't miss. But other than that, we got about, how many points do you get from the bench? 5, 8, 12, 6. We got 19 points from the bench of guys who are, and that includes the 4 from Ron and the 3 from Saz. So other than those 2 guys, aside, based on who was available, we have Simone with 3, Ari with 4, and Jenkins with 5 when it didn't matter. So we didn't get much from our bench, and understandably why. We didn't have enough of the bench available to give us much. So that's what made this game tough. That's what made it hard. And it happens, you know, but it was good to see guys like Paul Reed get some run, right? Dennis Jenkins, but guys, Fontecchio, man. Fontecchio again. I don't know what it is, man. Fontecchio, guys, is really struggling, man. I don't know I can't really defend it anymore. I can't really defend it. Like, I'm getting more and more frustrated watching him play. He just doesn't, it looks like he's trying to make the right play. He just is not making the right play. Like, he doesn't look comfortable, and the offense doesn't look fluid when he's in the game, right? The Wolves went on an 8-0 run when they were down 16, and that's in that first half. And most of it was off of Pistons taking bad shots or turning the ball over. And like I mentioned, Fontecchio did not help prevent that at all. Like, he was moving without the basketball, right? But it's like he didn't look to be in the right spots at the right time when he was supposed to be. Coming off pin downs, he looked like he was a second late. He was running into his teammate who had the ball. Like, it just didn't look like he understood what he was supposed to be doing. And it made the offense look very, very stagnant. It stagnated. And once again, and maybe this is because he thought he had to do this because the Pistons were down so many guys and needed offense. But once again, he put the ball on the floor. And I've said this since November. If you don't have a shot, move the ball and move yourself. And he felt the need to have to try to put the ball on the floor and try to make something happen. And once again, he turns it over because he tries to go for a shot and he can't get one because his defender's right with him. And he tries to make a pass out of it in the air and nobody's open because his guy's still on him. Therefore, no help is needed. And they're just waiting for him to turn it over. And I just don't understand why he keeps doing it. He has spurts where he is solid and just sticks to that. But he has other times when he just can't help himself and just has to do it. You know what it reminds me of? It's a little off topic, but for those who have seen the movie Hitch, right? When you see Kevin James' character training how to dance with Will Smith, right? Will's telling him, right here, this is home. You don't need pizza? They got food there. He's trying to teach him how to dance with his date when he goes on it, right? Just stay within your wheelhouse. All you gotta do is this. Just move the ball and move yourself. They don't need pizza. I know you're from Italy. They don't need pizza. We good, right? So that reminded, but do you remember when he went on the actual date? He started doing this, and then he busted out and started doing all kind of other stuff, and he just couldn't help himself, right? That's what this felt like watching him all season long. It's like for a period of time, he can stay here. But every now and then, he has flashbacks of what he used to do when he was playing overseas, and he has to just try to do something, and he messes it up. Oh, it's so frustrating to watch, man. For those who've seen that movie, you understand what I'm saying, right? If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It'll make sense, right? But that's what it felt like. Divine said Tech don't have... I ain't leave him alone. I ain't gonna say all that. But Divine, you understand what I'm saying, bro. Like, he just doesn't consistently stay. It's like if he's not scoring, it seems like he doesn't feel like he's helping the team. He feels like, in my mind, he has to score in order to help the team, but we don't need him to do that. And he's hurting the team when he's doing anything other than moving himself and moving the ball. And so that's the biggest thing. Thinks he's winning Ellington. Right. Yeah, we know what that is. Ellington would take a dribble, sidestep, shot, right? You've seen that. So Terry, you seen Hitch, you know what I'm talking about. You get it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's just he always has to try to do too much. I might watch Hitch tonight, Terry, just because of that. I might have to brush up on my Hitch game. But Yeah, it's just stay in your lane, bro. Stay in your lane and do what you do. And guys, we're at game 74 now. Like I've been saying this since the beginning of the year, so I don't know if it's going to change. I really can't defend it anymore. I don't know if it's going to change. I really can't. I don't know. He just doesn't seem to fit with this team. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'm going to be wrong again. But from what my eyes are telling me, it seems like everybody else knows what they're supposed to be doing and are finding ways to be impactful doing it. And with Tech, it's like every other game or every other third or fourth game, he'll do it and then have a few bad games in between. And to be a championship team, you can't afford to have those because you're going to need your bench in the playoffs to be who they are and to make good basketball plays. Just solid basketball plays. And if you're turning the ball over, because guys, in the playoffs, you notice turnovers go way down. The game slows way down because teams understand how important possessions are in the playoffs. It ain't just back and forward. Like teams take care of the basketball much better in the playoffs. You cannot afford to have guys doing things outside of their scope, turning the ball over, hurting your team, taking away your momentum, giving it to them because you didn't score because you turned it over, and now they're on the break pulling on Malik Beasley. Timeout. You can't afford that. You cannot afford that in the playoffs. Now I'll tell you this, if we see it somewhat at all in the playoffs, I would not be surprised if he does not play for the rest of that series. Because you can't afford to have guys getting into playoff mode or playing to their strengths in the playoffs. You can't afford to have them doing that in the play. Like they need to be doing it now. It starts now. Frank, every possession matters in the playoffs. 100%. 100%. You cannot afford to do that. So we'll see. But I'm not really liking what I'm seeing from Fontecchio, man. I don't see how he's really a positive for this team right now. But defensively, listen. Defensively, he always tries. But even in this game, early in this game, when DiVincenzo came into the game, when the Pistons were up like 18-6 before the bench even came in the first quarter. DiVincenzo comes into the game and knocks down 2 big threes because Fontecchio lost him. Like, you come on, bro. Okay, 1, all right, fine. Shouldn't be 1. But, okay, but 2? It's like getting called for your first foul and not making the adjustment and getting another one right after that. Like, come on, you got to make the adjustment. You got to make the adjustment. So he really didn't really give us much of anything tonight. You can't really give him, he didn't really give us much at all. What I saw was the lead just kind of like disappear when he came into the game. So I may be looking at this. Lindy Waters. I may be looking at Lindy Waters. If I'm coach, I'm getting Lindy Waters reps with the second unit right now. I'm getting him reps with that unit right now. And I'm not thinking twice. Kyle says benching for the playoffs. I mean, come on, man. No bias. Just basketball wise. Like, y'all know I don't dislike any of these. I love this team. I don't dislike Fontecchio. I haven't liked to come on here every other show and talk about this. But I gotta be honest though. I gotta keep it a buck. I gotta keep it a stack. It don't look good. It don't look good, man. So I think that's something that they really should consider. And I wouldn't be not surprised at all if he gets the yank quick in the playoffs. I think he'll get it. I think he'll get a chance to start the playoffs. But if they see him hurting the team and not really in sync with the rest of the team and not really giving an impact right away, I would not be surprised, if they yank him early in the playoffs, or at least for that particular series. So I hate to say it, but hey, I gotta keep it stacked, man. He does not look good right now. Aside from that, guys, like I mentioned, we didn't get much from our bench. Didn't get much, but tough loss, man. Tough loss. The Pistons just were not able to get it done. They just did not have enough after that scuffle. But Isaiah Stewart needs to be very, very careful, guys, because we are going to need him in the play. I keep going back to that game against the Bucks early in the year when he got ejected for pulling Giannis down, right in the second or third quarter. Before that, the Pistons were dominating that game. They were blowing him out. Stu gets ejected. Giannis sees a clear path to the rim. He smells blood in the water. He's licking his chops. They can't stop him, right? You can't afford to lose Isaiah Stewart in the playoffs. You can, not even for a game. You can't, not even for a game. So hopefully he can keep it together and not get any more the rest of the way. And I'm sure that they're talking to him about that too. Yank is crazy, dude. Yeah, hey, Yank. Sorry. Yank. It is what it is, man. Pull him if you have to. We can't afford to. We just can't afford that. He got blocked by. Yeah, he got blocked by Alexander Walker. Alexander Walker's like 6'4" on a good day. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know. He was missing tip. He was trying. He just doesn't make. He just can't finish plays. Missing tip ins, falling on the floor. He did get a good offensive foul called on him. He had two. That's the thing. Defensively, he tries. I get it, right? He got called. He got the offensive foul called on Julius Randle for setting a moving screen, right? He got the charge on DiVincenzo, which led to the scuffle after. So he tries. He tries, but it just is not. It's just not enough. It's just not enough for my liking, at least. So that's kind of how I feel about that. Marvin, I appreciate you, bro. Always show love, man. Appreciate you guys. You guys always show love. I appreciate everybody, man. And I fully enjoy doing this. I'll be talking to myself right now if I was not talking to you guys. So you guys make me not look crazy to my wife, who's like, who you talking to, bro? There's somebody there. Anyway, so yeah, guys, that was the game in a nutshell, man. You know, Pistons had a scuffle they dealt with, and they were depleted already before that. And after that, it went downhill because they just did not have enough. Just didn't have enough. So, like I mentioned, I am not bothered by this game at all as far as the win or the loss. I think the Pistons will bounce back in the next game, even if they don't win, because they have a tough one coming up. So with that, let's go. Let's start with the standings. Let's take a look at the standings and see how this loss now impacts the standings going forward. Honestly, guys, I think at this point, the standings are pretty much, I think everybody's locked in. I think everybody is locked in to where they're going to be for the playoff push as of right now for the playoffs. So here we go. So as of right now, the Pistons are at 5. I think they will stay at 5. Milwaukee lost again, it looks like. And so we are still up a game and a half on them, but we're also back a game and a half on the Pacers. So guys, unless something, and the thing is, we had a chance to really gain some ground. Before tonight, I would feel differently about the seedings being set in stone. But as of right now, it's gonna be tough to catch the Pacers, because I think the Pacers actually have the season head-to-head series. So we can't just tie. We have to have a better record than them. We have to be a game better than them. Not even a half game, because you're either gonna be the same or a game better. We're all playing the same amount of games, right? So the Pistons will have to be a whole game better than the Pacers to get to 4. You can't just tie them. So as of right now, they're down like 2.5 games or 2 games, not a game and a half. So it's going to be tough to catch Indiana. And the Bucks are not going to catch us. I don't think they're going to catch us. I think the Pistons are going to finish strong, and I don't think it's going to happen. So as of right now, guys, it looks like Pistons with us on the road, which to me was worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, right? I've already said I have confidence in whoever we play. But you do feel better about some teams than you do other teams. And I would have rather played the Knicks on the road or the Bucks on the road, because as we know, Dame is out with the blood clot. But the Pacers are full strength. They're playing the best basketball of the season, and we're going to be on the road. It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. So if anything changes with that, we'll see. But as of right now, it looks like we're going to get Indiana Pacers in the first round on the road. Devon says, I think it doesn't matter. Bucks, Knicks, or Hicks. Pistons and 6. Pistons and 6. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, Marvin. It's going to be Pistons, bro. That's what it's looking like, man. That's what it's looking like. Chuck said, I can try too, but I suck it up too. Yeah, like, I think you're talking about as far as, like, not leaving the bench or not protecting your guys. Yeah, same, bro. Like, I'm not leaving my guys out there. Marvin, you're not funny, bro. I don't look nothing like that dude. Even if I did, I would not accept it, because I am not the biggest fan of Halliburton. I'm taking this off the screen. I may have to mute you for the next show, Marvin, because I take exception to that one, bro. I take exception to that. Devin says, Asar Thompson is the key. I hate Halliburton. I'm going to leave that there. NBA wants Pistons Pacers. Yeah, that could be the case. I mean, it's going to be narratives either way. Only way it wouldn't be a storyline is Pistons Bucks. Right, but the Knicks, there's plenty there. You can go back to the 90s when the Pistons were playing the Knicks in the playoffs after the Pistons had their ascension and the Knicks were making their ascension, like with Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason and Patrick Ewing and John Starks and Derek Harper. There's a lot of storylines there, right? But then you have the Pacers, who is the most notable storyline of them all. So I'm not surprised that a lot of people want to see that. I'm just thinking basketball-wise, it's going to be tough. If we get two or three games against them, I wouldn't be upset with that. You got to remember that Pacers have had more experience. They've been in playoffs before, right? They've won playoff series before. So their guys have the experience factor that we don't have. Not saying we can't win because of that, but having experience versus not having experience is a big difference. I don't care how talented you are. Experience is important. We saw that tonight, right? So we'll see what happens with that. It's going to be tough. I'll keep an eye on that. The other thing I wanted to get to as far as with this game is actually the Pistons' schedule. So let's pull the schedule up and see who the Pistons have for their remaining, I believe it is 7 or 8 games to finish the season. So let's pull that up. And I believe the Pistons' next game actually play the Thunder. So it's not going to get any easier. It's only going to get tougher, right? So we lose to the T-Wolves tonight. Our next game is against the Thunder. That's also on the road. That is coming Wednesday. So the guys will have a chance to rest, which is good. After that game, they play the Raptors on the road, the Grizzlies at home, the Kings at home, the Knicks at home, and the Bucks. So the Pistons after these 2 games, right now the Pistons are on a 3-game road trip. Yeah, 3 games. So yeah. So after this game here, there, and here, we come back home. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 straight against the Grizz, Kings, Knicks, and Bucks before we play the Bucks again to finish off the season. So if the Pistons get 3 or 4 of these, if they get 4 or 5 of these, I'll be happy. If they get 4 or 5, I'll be happy. Thunder's going to be tough, right? They just blew out the Pacers by 20. 111 and 132. They just blew them out, right? So Thunder for real. Thunder the truth. I know we almost beat them, but if Cade isn't playing and Tobias isn't playing, or it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. And who knows what's going to happen as far as suspensions. I don't know. I don't think it'll happen with tonight's game. I think it'll just be ejections, but we'll see. But that game is going to be tough. The Raptors game, we should win. Grizzlies game, I think we should win that game too. At home, we should win that game. The Grizzlies are okay. They're not the same Grizzlies from a few years ago. I think Dylan Brooks actually leaving that team hurt them more than they thought it would. Personally, I'm not a Dylan Brooks fan, but that hurt them. So we should win that game, in my opinion. So that's what, 2-1. Thunder, yeah, 2-1 at this point. Should beat the Kings, 3-1. Should beat the Knicks, but I can see that going either way because the Knicks are probably going to have a chip on their shoulder after all the Pistons saw. But I think we should win that game too. Let's say we lose that one, right? Let's say we lose that one, go 3-2. We should win at least one of these two. At least one of these two, if not both. So Pistons get 4 or 5 games out of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They get 4. I'm okay with that. Finish 45-37. I'm good with that, right? Just make sure you are going into the playoffs playing a certain way and make sure you are healthy more than anything. So DG says 3 and 4 the rest of the way. I can see it. Devon says Pacers will beat us, but it will make us a better team. I can see that too. You were so right about Hallie. Can't say y'all are not Hallie fans. I'm not either. I'm not a Hallie fan. Yeah, but I'm not supposed to be. I'm a Pistons fan. He plays for the Pacers. Question, do you think the Pacers will catch the Knicks for the 3rd seed? Good question, Marvin. You know what? I actually wanted to talk about that before we went to the schedule. So let's go back and let's take a look again at the standings and see, because that'll be interesting. If they actually catch them, that's honestly why I didn't care about seeding. Because initially, I want the Pistons to stay at 6 or to go to 6 and the Knicks, right, at 3. But the Knicks fall to 4 and the Pacers. Now we're still playing the Pacers in the first round. You know what I mean? So it's just like at this point, I don't care. But as far as if the Knicks can get caught by the Pacers, I don't think so. And I'm going to tell you why. Let's pull it back up and take a look at it. Some late developments in the last couple of days that had me thinking that's not going to happen, right? So here we go. So let's look at the last 10. Look at streak over here. So as of right now, the Knicks have won 2 straight, and the Pacers have lost 1. With there being 7 or 8 games left, that's a big deal. Big deal. Because now, as of right now, the Knicks look like they have 8 games left, and the Pacers also have 8 games left. They're both at 74, if my math is right. So 8 games to go, and you're already down 4 games. The Pacers are down 4 games. They're back 4 games to the Pacers. So they would need to, yeah, that's not happening. It's not happening. It's not enough games. Not enough games. If the Knicks lose their next 4, and the Pacers win the next 4, they will catch them. But that's the only way that would happen. It needs to happen that way. Between the next 8 games, they got to make up 4 games. It's not realistic. I don't think the Pistons are going to catch the Pacers, and we're only a game and a half back. So even if we keep winning games, we need them to lose a lot of games. So I don't see, if we're not going to catch them a game and a half back, I don't see them catching the Knicks 4 back with 8 to go. So that's just my take on that, guys. I think the lineups and the seeding is pretty much locked up, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. So I will see you guys next show. This has been a great show as always. I appreciate all the love and support you guys show me. The next game, like I mentioned, is Wednesday against the OKC Thunder, and hopefully we get some guys back for that game. It'd be nice to have Cade back for that one. It'd be nice to have Tobias back for that one, just so we can get our guys back. Make sure these guys are in the rhythm going into the playoffs. So that's what I'm looking for. But as always, like DG mentioned, God bless everybody. Hope you guys are having a great night. I know it's not going great because what happened tonight, but bounce back game coming. Hopefully we can get a win. But either way, I will be here post game. That game, I believe, starts. When does that game start? I'm not even sure when that game starts. But either way, I'll be back post game after that game, whenever it is, and we will talk about it. Hopefully in a win, bounce back win. But if not, we'll talk about it in a loss too. But either way, I appreciate you guys' love, and I will see you guys Wednesday post game after the OKC Thunder. I appreciate hanging with your boy. And as you guys know, as always, Detroit first, everybody. Peace.